All right, so this video is going to go over some of the questions that were giving you trouble from the review sections. We already went over the new lesson concepts, and I think you're fine with those. It was the review sections. These things that are a little bit tricky, I know that they are a little tedious. They take up a lot of time, but they're important to work through step by step and not use a calculator, not use like Alexa or anything to try to figure it out, because these skills are very important in order to be able to move forward. Almost like reading, you need to know all the letter sounds and sight words. With math, you need to be able to do these things before we move on easily with math, because it's going to build off of this. All right, so let's take a peek. First one, and it's asking you to solve for x. So I wrote it on the left over here. It's a little easier to see on the left. If we look at this, it says that a cannot equal 0. And if we think about it, see how a is in the denominator? We can't divide anything by 0. If you have, let's say you have 12 horses and you're trying to put them into 0 groups, you can't do that. So if you try to put 12 divided by 0 in your calculator, you're going to get an error. So they're telling us that we're going to try to solve for x for this, but a cannot equal 0. One of the things we've been working on is simplifying equations by getting rid of any denominators and fractions. So we want to find the least common multiple. What can we multiply all of these by in order to get rid of that a? And the least common multiple is a. They're all the same. So we just have to multiply everything in here by a over 1. And I feel like it's a little bit easier to see it. Well, it's easier to do when we write it like this. And I know a lot of times students try to, take shortcuts here and not write everything out, but it's important to write everything out. That's part of the skill we're learning here, is writing everything out step by step. So these will cancel now, these will cancel now, and these will cancel now. And because we multiplied everything in every term by that, we didn't change the equation. We didn't change the value. So we have 2 take away 5 equals x. Now we only have one variable and we could solve it. This is a mixed sign. We have a positive 2 and negative 5. There's more negatives. How many more negatives? 3. So x equals negative 3. Section C, number 11, it says simplify and solve for the unknown. So for this one, the way we can simplify these is if we can get out the greatest common factor, if we can figure out what all of these are divisible by, we can make an easier problem to work with. And let's see here. They are all divisible by 9. So let's try dividing these all by 9 and seeing what we get. And just like with the other one we just worked on, we could divide everything by a, and it doesn't change the value. Because we're doing it to every term, it's not changing the value. So 63 divided by 9 is going to be 7a. 81 divided by 9 is 9. And 72 divided by 9 is 8. All right. And we look at these and we see that there is not any more common factors. We call this relatively prime. There's nothing else we can divide them all by. So we'll just solve from here. So we'll add 9. And we get 7a equals 17. And then divide both sides by 7. And we get a equals 17/7. So I don't see the work here, so I'm not sure if you did this with a calculator. I just want to go through real quick how to do it. So they want you to simplify and solve. When we're looking at decimals, what they mean here is they want you to get rid of the decimals in order to simplify this. So we're going to multiply everything by a number that will make those decimals all go away. So we're going to multiply this one by 100. This one just needs a 10. This one just needs a 10. But 100 is the biggest one that we need for everything. So we're going to multiply this whole thing by 100 in order to get rid of those decimals. And when we do that, it's just moving everybody's decimals over 2 places. So 1, 2, 1, 2, put a 0 in there. 1, 2, put a 0 in there. There's no decimal point there, but I can put it there. 1, 2, put the zeros in. Right now, everything got multiplied by 100. So we have 1 take away 10 plus 50 equals 200y. All right, now we're going to combine the like terms on both sides. So on the left, we have a 1 and a negative 10. This is negative 9 plus 50, 41. And if you wanted to do that when we use the please eat more dessert, Nate's Great Strawberry Mousse, the order of operations, we would group the positives together. So let's go ahead and do that. Positive, positive. So 50 plus 1, and then group the negatives together, negative 10, and then 200y is just by itself over here anyway. And now we add the positives, that's 51, take away 10 equals 200y. And now we use the mix sign rule because we have a positive 51 and a negative 10, and that's going to be 41. 41 equals 200y. And now for this, we have to just divide both sides by 200. So I'm going to write it on the top up here. So we have 41y, oh, it's 41 equals 200y. Now divide both sides by 200. This cancels. And I think those are relatively prime. I don't think 41 is not going to go into 200. So, and they don't have any common factors. So 41 over 200 equals y. And if you wanted to change that into a decimal, we could do 41 divided by 200. So we're going to have to put a decimal and some zeros here. So it's going to go, doesn't go into 4, doesn't go into 41. 410, it goes twice. So we have 10 left. We have 100, it won't go in at all. And we could do 0 times 200 is 0 if we wanted to carry out all those steps. 200 goes into 1,000 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. With 2 zeros is 1,000. All right, and the decimal point is going to go right here. So it's 0.205. So just make sure you're able, it takes a very long time, I know. It gets quicker as you keep going through it, but these need to be automatic. So it's building your number sense too. The more you work with these things, the quicker you see relationships. All right, so same with this one. All right, so for this one, similar to the other problem we did where we had to get rid of the a in the denominator, you're going to be simplifying this by eliminating the fractions, by getting rid of the denominators. So the first step with this is because we have mixed numbers, we have to change them to improper fractions. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So we have 5/2 x plus, and then 2/3 x is not a mixed number, so you just copy that, equals 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5 is 11, 11/6. All right. Now we have to focus on the denominators here. What's the least common multiple? What number can all of those go into? And 6 is the biggest number, so we're going to look at the 6's. Do all of these other numbers go into 6? Yes, they do. So we can multiply everything by 6. So we distribute out that 6, and so it's 6 over 1, 6 over 1, 6 over 1. Write it like that so it's easier to cancel. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then 6 divided by 6 is 1. So now we are left with 3 times 5 is, we have 15x. 2 times 2 is 4x. And then over here, 1 times 11 equals 11. All right, so now there's no more fractions, and the next step is to combine the like terms. So on the left, 15x and 4x is 19x. And now we have to divide both sides by 19. So x equals 11/19. And can we simplify that, or is that it? Okay, 11 and 19 are relatively prime. We can't simplify it anymore. So this is the final answer. Okay, for this one, it asks you to distribute that x. So distribute means this is the x, and because we have the parentheses here, we have to multiply the x by every term in there. This has to get multiplied, this one, and this one. So x times x, this one's going to be x squared. X times y, it's going to be xy. And 2q times x is going to be 2qx. Right? And that's all they wanted you to do because they just asked you to distribute it. And we can't combine anything there because those are not like terms. This has an extra x, this has the y. So the variables don't match in those, so that's as far as we can go with it. All right, number 20, we talked about these ones when we met, but I just want to make sure we're comfortable. So twice a number. So we're going to call that number n. Twice that number, so that means 2n, less 7, so take away 7, plus the number equals half the number. So 1/2 n, or 0.5n. And now if we look up here, does this, yeah, it looks like it's written exactly like this one. And if it wasn't, we could see if we could simplify or play with it to make it look like either of those. So in the next section, 6D, number 15, solve for y. So same idea as the other one we did. We want to eliminate the denominator, so look for the least common multiple. What goes into all of those? What can 2a both go into? Multiply everything by it so you can eliminate the denominators. For 16, you're going to change them into improper fractions. And then again, you're going to eliminate the denominators. Find the least common multiple for 5, 8, and 10. Multiply every term by that, and then the denominators will not be there anymore. Here, use the GCF to simplify and solve for b. So just like the other ones where we were trying to figure out what can go into each term here, what can we take out of each term so we have an easier problem to work with. So if we look at it, they all have an x, so we could divide everything by x. And then 0 divided by x is just 0. Actually, they all have an x squared. And then they all have a y. They do not all have a 4 or any factors of 4. We can't get rid of, so we can't get rid of the 4. And they don't all have a b. So this is what we could divide every term by. So you're going, write it like that, cross out what cancels, and then whatever you have left, write it, and then solve for b. Number 20, I think this one will be easier now. That a, you have to multiply each term by a. Remember, we did that little arrow to show us that we're distributing that a to all of those terms inside. Okay, this is section E. For 11, remember, simplify and solve for the unknown. For all of these, 11 through 13, that means look for the greatest common factor. What can you take out of each term? So try to see what you can get out of each term so you have an easier problem to work with, and then solve for the variable. When you have something like this one, what you want to do is you want to start inside the parentheses and simplify. First, you want to combine like terms here. Well, you want to follow the order of operations in there. So please eat more dessert, Nate's Great Strawberry Mousse. We're looking in the parentheses. There's no exponents. There's no multiplication. There's no division. Great. The G in great stands for group like terms together. So we're going to put the B and the negative 2B. And we have the 6 and the minus 4. We can copy the rest of it. 3 squared. And then over here, we're going to group our like terms together in there. Negative 4B plus 2B. Take away 8, take away 9. All right. So we grouped our like terms together. And let's just make sure we have the same signs. If we have B positive, B negative, make sure we grouped those together. And yeah, it looks like our pluses of the like terms are together and our negatives of the like terms are together. All right, so now we can do the next step. B take away 2B, that's going to be negative B. Positive 6, negative 4, that's going to be positive 2. Negative 4B and a positive 2B, it's going to be negative 2B. And negative 8 and negative 9, that's negative 17. All right, so now we cleaned up what's in the parentheses. Now let's look at the bigger problem that we have here. And we focus on one side at a time. So you know, I'm just going to focus on this side. So parentheses, we did what we could. Please eat more dessert, Nate's Great Strawberry Mousse. Parentheses, exponents, multiply. This is multiplying. So 7 times negative b is negative 7b. 7 times 2 is 14. And then now if we look at this side, what can we do over here? 3 squared is 9. And you know what? Because I did a step, I'm just going to just write that. I'm not going to try to do everything all at once there. All right, and now the next step, there's nothing more I can clean up on the left, but on the right here, now I can multiply, I can distribute out that 9. So it's going to be negative 18b, take away, and then 17 times 9. So it's going to be 153 equals negative 7b plus 14. All right, now that we have it to this point, we can try to get the variable on one side and everything else on the other side. So let's see. If I bring that negative 18b to the left, then I'll end up with a positive b, so I'm going to do that. Plus 18b. So if I have a positive 18 and a negative 7, I have more positives, so the answer is going to be positive. And we are going to be left with 18 take away 7 is 11. So positive 11b plus 14 equals negative 153. Now I'm going to take away 14 from both sides. So 153 and 14, because they're both negatives, I'm going to be adding more negatives to it. So 153 plus 14. So this is 167. Negative 167. And we have 11b. And now we just have to divide both sides by 11. All right, so now we have negative 167 over 11 equals b. So for 13, apply the same thing. Start in the parentheses and start simplifying. And then once you get it simplified as much as you can on the left and as much as you can on the right, then you want to get the variable on one side and everything else on the other to solve for it. For 14, just make sure you can do that with the trick of getting rid of the decimal. For 15 and 16, remember, we're going to, any mixed numbers you have there, change them into improper fractions, and then eliminate the denominators by multiplying everything by the least common multiple. Write 35% as a decimal and as a fraction. So for this one, remember 35% means 35 out of 100. So we can write that as 35 over 100. And then as a decimal, that's going to look at like 0.35, and we want to make sure that the 5 ends in the hundredths place value. For number 9, remember we're going to use n for the number. So the opposite of a number, we're going to write like negative, because that means opposite, negative n, times the opposite of 4. So negative 4 times negative n. That product divided by the product of 2 times 5. So just work that out by give the number the variable n and try to write that out. Use the answer key to help you as you need to. Same thing for number 20. All right, and this was test 6. So after you've gone through and fixed all of those, take a look back at these problems. Anything you got wrong here. And great job on the honors lesson. So nothing to fix there. All right, so as you're working through this week's work, use this to help you and use the answer key as you need to. And then you can also go back to old problems like earlier chapters and find similar problems to work through those.